Alrighty guys, welcome indeed for our Path of Exile Trial of the Ancestors walkthrough and guide for beginners. This is going to be a guide for someone that's never played Path of Exile. I'll show you everything. This is a very complex game. So the first step, obviously, is to go ahead and create a character. So the whole point of this guide is to teach you guys Path of Exile and, of course, play the new league. So starting right off, let's go ahead and select Ancestor over here, and you make sure you don't select any of these. These are for special modifications to essentially kind of make the game a little bit harder, or if you want to just play by yourself. So we're going to get started with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing Ranger. However, you can actually transition to kind of whatever you want to, and that's the beauty of Path of Exile. It has a lot more freedom in the game. So we are going to create our character, and I'm just going to name it Ancestor, so this way I know that this is for this league. So let's go ahead and get started. And Path of Exile is a very complex game. Usually like these sort of guides will be like a 20-ish minute guide for players that have never played Path of Exile and they expect people to follow along. This is going to be the full walkthrough, the full guide of the entirety of the campaign as well as the end game. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to keep the tutorials because it lets me kind of explain things when certain things come up. But Path of Exile is a game where you need to actually have a full walkthrough guide. You'll see that there's a chat on the left over here, and if you've played Diablo, and I kind of want to make this guide specifically for people that have played Diablo. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to click on this bow. It's going to automatically equip it for us. But there is some settings in the options that I want to go ahead and actually mention real quick. So under your options menu, there are a few settings in the game that I do think are very, very important. I do have some additional tools that I have downloaded that make the game a little bit easier for myself. There's certain sounds that you can change in the game, and if you do want to download some of these like external tools, I will mention them in the pinned comment. However, I wouldn't worry about it too much because most people that hop into Path of Exile for the first time, people tell you, oh, you gotta download PoE, Awaken Trade, or you can download certain things like Path of Building to really help your experience with playing. But for the most part, I would say if someone's just starting out with the game, they don't want to download all these other programs, right? So let's go ahead and get started with the options in the option menu that will really actually help you out. But there's additional tools that do make this game easier, but let me go move my face out of the way. So the one thing that's very important in the very beginning is this landscape transparency. You can see over in the top right, it just declutters the thing, and if you want to change the transparency, you can do that. And there's also a map zoom. So at the very beginning, that is one of the options that I highly, highly recommend changing. There's a lot of things that if you want to copy my settings, you can feel free to do so. But, you know, I'm going to have different hotkeys, just the normal stuff. But that's like the most important thing. And there's also a thing called a loot filter. There's so many things with this game that if you want to enable, there's a lot more options. But I'm just going to show you my settings because sometimes people always ask, you know, what are my settings? And this is actually pretty important at the very start to really change that landscape transparency. It just really declutters the game. So starting right off, we're going to go ahead and actually just pick up the bow, and then we're going to talk to this dying exile. And it's going to eat the other guy, and then we're just going to shoot and just left click to shoot. You can rebind your keys. I really like to use movement on Q, but a lot of people like to put it on their left mouse. So we just got our first gem. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on our gem, and we're going to put it inside of the green hole. This will allow us to be able to use a skill called Burning Arrow. This is going to cost us mana. And because a lot of people may have came from Diablo 4, I'm going to mention certain things that may be similar to Diablo because a lot of people were asking, am I going to play Path of Exile? But I make guides every single season, so yes, we are ready. But we're also streaming on Twitch, so if I talk to the chat, don't worry. I'm not crazy and talk to myself. It's just, I like streaming it. It's very fun. But hello, Eisen. And hello, Andros. How you doing? What's up, Splash? You excited for PoE 2? Oh, me as well. But yeah, we're doing a full walkthrough and guide. Okay, so left side is mana, or I'm sorry, yeah, left side is the HP, or right side is the mana. And so when you run out of mana, you can't cast Burning Arrow, but your regular attack does not cost. So the reason why I wanted to go Ranger is it's very, very beginner friendly, super beginner friendly. So if you see the you'll see this chest, just click on it, it always spawns here. And some of the maps may be a little bit different, but you'll see if I mouse over it, it says supportable skills, Burning Arrow. So we have our active skill gem, and this is called a support gem. So the support gem will support the arrow. So Burning arrow is the thing that does the damage for us, right? And that is the thing that makes the arrow catch fire, and it can ignite the enemies. It converts some of the damage from physical to fire damage. And then with momentum support, we get to gain a momentum when we are using a skill, and we have increased attack speed per momentum. And then when we reach a certain amount of stacks, we actually gain swiftness, and then we have extra movement speed. So it's kind of nice to have. You definitely want to support it, and they have to be supported by this little line here. There's a green and green, so that means that, well, the green one will be right next to the other green one, and see, this one's just one socket. So if I was to put my burning arrow, I would not get the momentum. So the awesome part with Path of Exile is it has a system where you are able to kind of build your own skills, which is a really nice thing. But yeah, I'm going to leave the tutorial on when the things come up. In the very beginning, just pick up everything because you'll want to get additional items. So instead of gold being like a form of currency in this game, you actually use the items that modify your items as currency. So this is Hillock. He's a little bit difficult, but just shoot and move. Ranger is one of the most beginner-friendly classes, and I always like to start off with it as my league starter. Just pick up all the items, and we'll check out the items later once we go into town. Enemy here too. Okay, we can finish off. Okay, and then we can finally go into the first town. Oh, so tab is what opens up the map to be over there, and we just got our first. Okay, we gotta go over here. There we go. And this will open up, and we're gonna click on Lionized Watch. So basically, you just go straight up and to the right. It's pretty much the same for every single one. PoE is not casual friendly, to answer your question, but this is indeed PoE. Alright, so the next step that we're going to do is once we get into town, we want to go ahead and we can talk to all the NPCs with the exclamation mark above their head, and then I'll basically activate the quest. My suggestion for this walkthrough and playthrough is have me on maybe your phone or a second monitor, kind of follow along. I'm not going to go over the like the quest line in the story, but I will do all of the quests that are actually important, because similar to Diablo 2, the quests can give you actual skill points. So you can see we can get a few different skills to select from. Choose the one that you want. It really doesn't matter too much. You can use Burning Arrow. I like using Split Arrow because it adds additional arrows, and I'll show you what this does. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to remove the Burning Arrow, and I'm going to put in Split Arrow. And then now my right click will be Split Arrow. I can also put it on a different key over here. And you can actually hold control, and you'll have a whole nother skill bar, and you can still use all of your skills. But let's go ahead and see what we got here. So you might not get the same items, and like this one over here, you can mouse over it, it'll tell you how much damage it does. Over here, I may want these boots because these are rare boots. So I'm going to right click on the Scroll of Wisdom. If you play Diablo 2, it's like a Scroll of Identity. You right click on it, and then you left click on the item, and then you can now equip it. You cannot equip unidentified items in this game. And then we also get an amulet here. It's got some life regen. It's got some extra life. It's just kind of nice to have. But now we're going to go to the vendor, and we're going to go to Nessa and click on sell items. Any item that you're not using, just sell it. It's going to give you either some transmute shards or scrolls of fragment. I don't need burning arrow anymore, but we can still keep it just in case I want to ignite a target. And you can see I can still use this. I can still use the skill. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the coast. So we're exiting town here, but you can check out the vendors. You probably won't have any things to really buy. Maybe I can grab this as one scroll of wisdom. But it's not like I really need to get armor right now. In fact, it actually has a hidden stat where it actually reduces your movement speed. But it's only for people that are really min-maxing to not run armor for a really long time, that are doing like speed runs. But you can see the vendors, they sell stuff for basically, you know, Scroll of Identities, and you can get Scroll of Identities real easy. Now, the next thing that is going to blow your mind with Path of Exile is the skill tree. So let's go ahead and open this up, and you can see it is massive. Okay, just try to follow along with this build. You can change things later. But what we're going to do in the earlier stages is just get some damage, get some extra increased life, and we're just going to move down over here. And I want to get as much movement speed as possible so we can expedite our progress in the game. So you see, not only do I have Burning Arrow, but I also have Split Arrow. So what we're going to look for is this medicine chest. So in this game, don't feel like you have to kill every single enemy you see. Just attack, kind of move, attack and move. And this is kind of how you get done. Because you can see this item drop. I have a certain thing called a loot filter that will give me sounds when certain items drop. Don't worry about it too much. It's just a sound. It doesn't give me any advantage other than like if something drops and I'm talking, and it just kind of helps out. But what that is called is going to be a loot filter. And there's tons of them. But I don't want to overwhelm you guys with like, okay, go to this website, download this thing. because, you know, for a beginner, and this is why I make these like full beginner guides, and I always get people that say thank you so much for making this super like beginner friendly, because a lot of Path of Exile tutorials will always tell you, okay, first download this program, and for a beginner that can be overwhelming. So you can see over on the right side our gems have leveled up. Left click on them, we're just going to keep on upgrading all of our gems. It usually gives us some sort of damage or cooldown reduction. Coming up to our first waypoint now. There will be times where you don't want to upgrade gems, but I'll mention that when it's important. So you want to left click on the waypoint, just like Diablo, it's like a waypoint. We're going to usually go to the bottom right of the waypoint. It's always going to be the title island. This is going to be a quest to get a medicine chest, and it is important. Some quests in this game you don't need to do, and we're just going to do the important ones here. We do it. Oh yeah, we do it on one. All this is done in one take, no edits, man. That's how I try to get out these videos so fast too, because if I do editing, it takes time, right? I mean, I do edit my videos. Well, I have an editor, but I want to get like what we do is there's 10 acts in Path of Exile. We try to aim for 1 act per video, and that way we have the whole campaign done and everyone has a full walkthrough guide. So once we're in the title island, we're just really looking for this medicine chest, but just keep on shooting split arrow and moving. But if you like burning arrow, hey, you could use it, but you're only shooting 1 arrow. It does more damage, but yeah, you only get 1 arrow, which is a lot slower in general. But later we're going to be swapping over to lightning arrow, and things are just going to be so fast. Lightning arrow, in my personal opinion, is one of the most beginner friendly, and it is so good for damage. Yeah, Ranger is just, if I was to recommend a build for beginners, I think the Necromancer is great. You'll start off as something called the Witch, and then you get like a secondary class. So we're just looking for that chest over here. See where it is. Okay, so this is one of the hardest bosses in the game, or the very beginning. His name is Hellrake, and you want to just shoot and move. If that hits you, you will move slower, and yeah, if you get frozen, it can be pretty bad. See how it moves a little bit slower? And if you ever need to pop your potions, you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where all your potions are at. Probably should have mentioned that at the very start, but it's kind of like generic action RPG stuff, but yeah. And in this game, your potions don't refill over time, how it actually works. And if we're just fighting a single target, we could just use Burning Arrow. And the reason why is because, well, it does more damage, but you only get to shoot 1. But if there's multiple enemies, just keep on using your Split Arrow. And we're going to get some stuff from this. Okay, so the green items are quest items in this game. And we just got another flask. So going back to what I was talking about in terms of our mana potions. So how we refill them, instead of it over time, we get it based off of kill. There's alternate ways to gain extra charges. You can get that on your skill tree, but for the most part, you just kill enemies. Now we're going to go back over here to the coast, and we're going to go use the portal. The faster way is actually to log out in the game, but just for all sake and purposes, I'm going to show you guys the waypoint system. So the little house icon indicates that this is a town, and there are different checkpoints that you can get to get extra waypoints, but we don't need to get the other waypoint. We just need the medicine chest, and we're going to walk right back into town. And now we get our reward. And this, some of these rewards you can select, but you want the Quicksilver Flask. This is going to let us move faster. And then we get another support gem. So what do I want? I want Mirage Archer. It is so dang nice to have in the early stages. So I'm going to left click on Mirage Archer, claim that as my reward. And we're going to see if we can purchase any items that we may want. Let's see, let's go to sell items. Let's get rid of all these things, because these are like wands. I don't want these. I'm just selling things to get extra little forms of currency, and we will use those very soon. And we got some gloves. Our current gloves give us nothing. This gives us, well, it's a red, which it'll be good later. We have accuracy rating, and you can't equip stuff in the trade window, so we're just gonna go ahead and accept, and then I'm gonna swap these gloves, and then I'm going to hold control, left click, and it's gonna put the item in the vendor window, and then we're just gonna accept. Goodbye. And so we're gonna be able to use these at level 4, and then we can also talk to Tarkly.
Farewell.
And anytime you see exclamation mark, just take the quest. And then now we're going to go back to the waypoint, and we're going to go open up our tree, and we're going to go right over here. So we're going to get as much attack speed as possible in the very beginning, and I'll show you guys what this gem does. And if we can, we have what, 3 wisdoms. We'll see if we can find a better upgrade on a bow, or anything that, or a piece of armor that happens to have like 2 green and then any other color right now would be great. Or if you can see any boots with movement speed, you can try to pick that up as well. That's kind of like the ideal things that you want. But there really isn't anything with there's a 3 link here, right here. Perfect. There's a 2 green and then 1 blue. We could pick this up for 1 scroll of wisdom, and this could be used later. I don't happen to have a blue gem, but if we go to the vendor here, Nessa, and we go to purchase items, if we go to the second page, you can see that there's all these other gems. We don't really have any blue gems to support us now, but there is like added lightning damage that we can get later. And if you see any gems that you want to try out, hey, by all means, go ahead and actually select those. That will significantly increase your speed at just playing the game in general. Because you may see something that like you enjoy a lot more. And now we're going to go to the waypoint system, and then we're going to click right back on the coast. That's where we went back. And now we are going to continue to the mud flats. So I got like some notes over here because I try to mention certain things at certain intervals. But yeah, we're just going to go kill more enemies, and I'll show you how cool the skill Mirage Archer is once we level up 1 more level. So in this area, the mud flats, our goal is to collect these 3 seashells. Again, the green items will be the quest items. If you see any orbs of transmutation, orbs of alteration, you want to pick those all up. They should all be in gold by default. My loot filter might change the color of certain like names of items, but over here, you really want to move it and attack. These Roas can do a little charge attack, and if you get hit stunned, it can definitely be annoying. If you see any portal scrolls, pick them up. Later, I'll show you guys a really good tactic to actually save. And see how these are leveling up? You want to level up all of them. And since we just leveled up, we can now use that other skill. And I'll show you what we're going to be doing with it. So, this is optional. It's going to require you to click a different button than your attack. We're going to pick up all of the rings at the very beginning just so we can have them. So now I'm going to also equip this, which is the Quicksilver Flask, since we hit level 4. I'm going to put in this socket, and if you don't happen to have something that has 2 green sockets, it's fine. Just split arrow and momentum is fine. I'm going to take that burning arrow, and now I have the burning arrow linked with the Mirage Archer. So how this is going to work, oh, it's a skill point, and I'm going to put another point in to increase attack speed, and we're just going to go over here. I like to get a lot of attack speed at the very beginning because it makes the game feel really good. So I'm going to shoot once with this, and you can see there's a little like ghost above my head that will now keep on activating Burning Arrow for 4 seconds. So now I can activate Burning Arrow, and it's just going to shoot Burning Arrow for free for me. I don't even need to touch it, and it's just activating it. But it only activates once every 4 seconds. So now we're going to click on this item over here. And if you hear any sounds, like right there it said good, it's because I have a filter that makes it so sounds appear. And now we're just going to continue. And it's, again, optional if you want to continue using Burning Arrow. I just like using both because it's going to be faster for speed. So we'll attack once with that, activate the little ghost, and we will go faster. So yeah, we're looking for a couple of these seashells. There's 3 to be exact. If you see any chests, click on them, pick up the items. Can you jump in this game? No, there's no jumping in this game. But to answer your question, what game is this? The name of this game is Path of Exile. There's a new league. It just came out today, so we're playing this instead of Diablo. We're also playing Baldur's Gate. So we're going to be going at it for a while, GSM. To answer your question, though, I mean, I'm going to grind up. Path of Exile, you can spend hundreds of hours in this game, and your time is really well spent with this game in terms of min-maxing. Versus, like, since people always talk about Diablo, and that's, like, kind of what I'm going to, like, refer it to, is Diablo, you're basically just grinding rifts, and in this game, the end game are maps. Ooh, we got a boot that has 3 greens. This is going to be awesome, but it's a white one, so we don't have any movement speed, so that's going to be something we factor in as well. And then we got a mask over here. This mask, it happens to be rare, so I'm going to identify it, see if it's any better. We get extra life regen. Sure, I'll go and equip that. And by the way, one quick question that I always get asked when I'm like playing this game is this game pay to win? Because it's a free game, right? There's no reason why you wouldn't want to try out this game. If you are a fan of Diablo, Torchlight, this is one of the best action RPGs, 100%. Yeah, the game is 100% free, no pay to win. Absolutely no pay to win. And you remember that Quicksilver Flask I was talking about? So when we activate that, it just gives us movement speed. That's why we do the medicine quest, medicine chest quest. So I'm going to shoot once, activate that thing. And it's optional. If you just want to keep on spamming split arrow, yeah, you can do that too. It's easy. Now we just got our first quiver, and we're just going to have that and just going to put it on our quiver. That's just going to give us some more damage. And you grab the iron ring. If we see any upgraded flasks, we can go ahead and click on it, and it's going to upgrade our flask. You can also take 3 flasks of the same type and actually trade them for the vendor, and it'll give you an upgraded flask. So let's go and kill these guys. Also, this game does not pause. So like if I was to like open up my inventory or something, or put up my skill tree, yeah, the game will not pause for you. So now we're gonna go continue. Now that we've got all of our seashells. Now there is another area that we can go to that gives you respec points. So that means like if you made a mistake on your skill tree, you can respec your points. So this game does have a sense of permanency to your skills, but later you can swap your skills as long as you use the currency for it. So we're going to take our 3 seashells. We don't have to have them in any order, but you get 3 of these little seashells. You just click on the eggs, and then you're going to go put them inside this wall. And then go to the submerged passage. Now we're going to be going into the cave over here. Okay, and then next we can go back to town. We can sell our items, and if we happen to have the ability to have 3 of the same flasks, I'll show you how to upgrade your flasks. You can also just get flasks as a drop. You can also get them from vendors. And also, if the first day the game lags at all, like this is like very normal. And then we're going to talk to Tarkley over here. And now we get to select another thing. So we can get Sniper's Mark, we can get a Ballista. So Sniper's Mark is actually pretty dang nice. You can also just get it. But I like to get this Ballista because it's going to significantly increase our speed. And then we're also going to grant ourselves Dash. So we get 2 new skills to play around with. And if we happen to have, let's see if we see anything that is going to be good. Like this one costs 2 Scrolls of Wisdom. This one costs an Orb of Alchemy. But this one, it gives us extra physical, lightning, attack speed, crit. Crit is going to be like kind of mid in the very beginning. This is probably actually going to be better. It's kind of rare to get like quivers in the earlier stages. So I'm just going to pick up this one. I'm going to move something out of the way here, so I have room for it. I'm just going to pick up this quiver because getting extra physical damage is going to be just kind of nice to have in the very beginning. And then I'm just going to vendor off all my stuff that I don't need. So like this, this over here, and then we're good. Let me see if I have 3 of the same. Okay, so we have small life flask, small life flask, small life flask. We take this to any vendor, by the way. It doesn't have to be specifically her. We put 3 of the same, and it's going to upgrade the flask for us. And now we got this. Some flasks are unidentified, and in this game, you cannot equip unidentified stuff. And then now we have Dash, so I can put the Dash in here, and then I can put the Shrapnel Ballista in here. And then now I can use Shrapnel Ballista. And then Sniper's Mark you can get as well. Anytime you get a quest reward, pretty much most of the time, it will also add it to the pool, and I can type in the word Sniper's Mark. If I happen to have a Scroll of Wisdom, I have one. Okay, cool. We can still get this as well. And now we can throw in Sniper's Mark. And so now, only on, like, elites. So now we're going to click on the Submerged Passage. We're basically going right back to that waypoint that we just activated. And anytime we see like an elite, we want to activate the Sniper's Mark. So here I know the game's getting kind of complex. So I'm going to put my dash on W. So it's just a small little like movement that we get. So now I'm going to activate, and some of these will freeze you, so be careful. But now I'm going to throw up Shrapnel Ballistas. They're little turrets that just kind of shoot. And this is why I really like having them earlier on. It's because they don't do an insane amount of damage earlier on. You can make your character's full build around them, but they just help in the earlier stages. So yeah, since we're in the Submerged Passage right now, we're just going to be looking for an area to fight a boss that will give us a quest reward of a skill point. It's called Dweller in the Deep. That's the next quest that we're trying to do right now. Am I going to play D3 again? Yeah. Oh, the PTR? Yeah, we'll definitely do that. There's like a couple builds that we want to try out. Okay, we got a belt here, and I should auto-equip it. Anytime you don't have a slot by default, it will automatically put it in. Make sure you always upgrade your gems ASAP, because if you do not, well, you're not going to be getting XP for the gem, because it has to be on that next level to start getting more XP. But just throw some turrets, kind of move. Another quiver. And let's go throw that down. Now you can see where the game becomes a little bit more button heavy. And if you don't want to, by all means, just...
That was a juicy one, Exile!
Just split arrows all you need. Valhalla Trump, how you doing? We have sounds enabled on Twitch. It's such a good game. Yeah, this game is great. I absolutely agree. It's like one of my favorite action RPGs of all time, Diablo and Path of Exile are basically the two dominant ones. Wolcen had some potential, for sure, but these are considered like the kings right now in action RPG. Another silver coin. I'll show you what everything does later. It's just sometimes it might be too early to kind of use the item or talk about it. Gems are leveling up. There's just so much to do. But again, if you see in Elite, you can activate Sniper's Mark, and you'll see it's indicated by this little thing above their head. And what that actually allows us to do, if I shoot them, it's going to make the projectiles go outward. It's called, well, they're going to split towards other enemies, and they also take more damage. And this is our first shrine that we're coming up to, and I'm actually going to get rid of this one because this one's going to be better. Because what we're going to be scaling with this character is evasion. So I'm going to put this in here. And I don't even have to change my skill bar. It's going to go right back to putting that exactly where it was. So this is our first shrine. If you see any shrines, just like in Diablo, they just give you a small buff for a small duration. Probably should have put in our skill points first because this does not last very long. It's like 40 seconds. But we are zooming. So one thing that we can do. So there's an area that we go to for a quest. And if you don't get to the little like cave area, like it's kind of random if you're going to get to the little like underground area, what we're going to do is actually open up a portal over here. We're going to open up a portal here, and we're going to go to the ledge, and then we're going to actually go back into here. So if you see the little like underground area, you want to go towards it because there's going to be a quest. But this is actually the speed running strategy. So you make a portal right there, and it's important that you don't die here. If you die, well, it's going to put you back. But dying in general in this game isn't really that punishing until late game. Upgrade all of our gems. And we have... also, when you go from zone to zone, usually, and I say usually because there's certain exceptions, but your shrine buffs will go away. So now we're going to put some more skill points in. And try to copy this as close as you can because the game gets quite difficult. So we're just going to get more damage. This is all we're getting is more damage. Projectile speed, damage. And we're going to keep on moving. Now we're at the ledge, and we're looking for the next waypoint here. This is actually pretty important. Some areas you don't need to get the waypoint. Some areas it's very important. This one is pretty important, and the reason why is because we're going to use a speedrunning strategy. I know this isn't necessarily a speedrun, but it will help out. Hi, what's your role place on Crucible and help me understand the basic mechanics? Thanks for creating these videos. Oh, you're very welcome, DeadSec. No problem, mates. I like making these videos because I like adding more people to Path of Exile because it's always super fun to have more people interested in multiple games, that we don't get too burnt out of playing one game. Because I play a lot of Diablo, and sometimes on seasons, for any action RPG, even Path of Exile, I'll play really hard for a couple weeks, and then I'll wait for the new season. And same thing with Diablo. Diablo 3, Diablo 4, Diablo 2, for the next like ladder reset, right? But yeah, we're just going to keep on moving along. If you see any items that's red, green, and blue, that's all linked together, and I think you can hold Control or Alt, and it'll show the item. Oh, it's actually, no, by default it's Z. If you want all the items to always appear, I think by default it's Z for the hotkey. Some of the hotkeys I might have changed, but it makes it so the items always appear. So now we're coming up to our waypoint. We want to get this waypoint and go back to Lionized Watch. We want to go back to town. So now that I have this waypoint for the ledge, I'm going to go back. And the reason why we do this is because there's a quest point. Remember I was talking about that little cave that you can enter? We're going to go back to the submerged patch. This is just the fastest way to do it. I do know some speedrunning strategies, but this one's like, it's not really that big of a deal, but it does help out a little bit. So what we're looking for is Dweller in the Deep. That's the name of the quest. I don't know what the default quest button is, because I have mine set to U. But if you ever need to see the hotkeys for anything, it's just where you click on menu. It will tell. Oh, I have 3 greens. Awesome. This will be a nice little addition. So you can see over here, I'll have all the hotkeys, but. So yeah, we're looking for a little cave that we can enter. And now that we have 3 greens, I can maybe do something. Let's see, do I have another support? No, I don't have any of the supports that I want. I could add the momentum support to, let's say, burning. Or actually, I could do Mirage Archery. Hey, that would actually be kind of nice. So what we're going to do is I'm going to swap to this. I'm going to put Mirage Archer support. I'm going to also put momentum, and I'm also going to put split arrow. So now these are all 3 green linked. If they're separated, it does not work. And I can have another 3 link over here. Although with the boots, I have to get movement speed. Like, it's just kind of like a thing that you want on your boots in this game, just in general. So let's keep on moving. Okay, so here's the area I was talking about. If you see this area before you get to ledge, you can go to it. It's the luck of the draw sometimes. And your map might not be exactly the same as mine, but yeah. So now I guess I can put Sniper's Mark over here. So now when I use my split arrow, it's also going to have little like ghost above my head. It's called Mirage Archer. It just fires for us for free. And I don't have to use Burning Arrow anymore right now. I mean, I can if I want to for bosses. In theory, it does help for DPS, but I can throw Sniper's Mark. I can throw my little turrets here. I just have so many like little fun little toys to play around with. Next up, I got another passive skill. And I'm going to go and grab Aspect of the Eagle. And then we can get some more HP. Eventually, you do want to get some defensive stats. As much as I love getting as much damage as possible. It's good to get HP. In this game, a lot of times you will stack lots and lots of HP. Your ideal goal is about 5,000 towards like the end. Oh, whoa, whoa. That was a lot of damage. Sometimes you run into monsters that have like, you know, extra fast, or this one's hasted. Okay, I noticed that like that was a lot of damage real fast. It'll happen. Okay, so next we got this shrine over here. And let's keep on going. I mean, you can hold down, like right now I have my key for dash on W. And later we won't have to use any more mana potions. I know it's very tedious in the very beginning, but if you play like Diablo 1 and 2, like you're spamming potions the whole game. Whereas with Path of Exile, eventually we don't have to heal, no healing potions, no mana potions. Everything can be activated as automatic, which is huge, but you don't get those special little things till like later. So in this area, we're just looking for a boss. It's a giant crab looking thing. New Path of Exile update, yes sir. Today, Trial of Ancestors came out, and I haven't engaged in the League mechanic yet. And in fact, no data miners got the data for the uniques. So I know some people like when I make new build guides to have a like a link for like the whole build guide. I would say, I mean, some people like it as a reference, and I'll leave my last one from last league. And the reason why I don't have one for this league at this second is because we don't even know what items exist in the game. And what I think is very interesting, and it does give people some sort of reference, right? Because as far as the skill tree goes, it's going to be pretty much the same. There may be some minor changes on the skill tree because of these new skill tattoo things. And I'll get into that when that time comes, because this is brand new. No one knows what everything in this game has. Again, I was up last night looking for like any other data mines that came out today as well. But no data miners got the uniques. And I always like to build my characters around some sort of new unique, if possible, right? But we can't do it this time. Okay, so this is our first Okay, well, let's kill this guy first. Don't click on that thing yet. I'll show you what that is going to be doing later, as that's quite important. So we're just going to go, and we can activate our Sniper's Mark. And we want to activate it on the Dweller in the Deep. Oh, he's almost gone anyway, so we got him. We got a Superior Short Bow. It's only got one green, so... but it is a blue item. So now we're going to go use the Scroll of Identity, and it's going to give us some more damage. So I'm going to swap to this, get rid of that bow, I can just throw that on the floor. Got some boots. If you want to, earlier on, you can pick up all the boots. Okay, so this is our first Essence monster. What we're going to do is set up some turrets, because as soon as we click on it, it's going to unfreeze the monster. Some of these can be very hard in the very beginning, but it's going to drop an Essence, which will guarantee us a rare item on any white item. So we got Essence of Woe. So you can see what it gives you. We can get extra spell damage if we put it on a weapon, or we can get extra energy shield, or if it's on a quiver, we get increased damage with bow skills. So we can maybe throw it on a... do I have a quiver? I mean, this one over here is a blue. So it can only affect the normal items. So we have extra strength. We have a coral amulet. We can throw on this ring. On rings, it's going to give us some energy shield, which is worthless, but for the most part, it's just going to make the ring rare, so it's going to give us some more stats. So we get extra cast speed, evasion. This is pretty bad, but it's... I mean, we got extra evasion rating and some intelligence, so, I mean, it does something, right? But overall, it's probably not going to be super useful. Now, the awesome thing with Path of Exile that I'm going to teach you guys is a high-level thing. Instead of walking all the way back, or opening up a portal, to save a portal, earlier on, portals aren't super rare, but I'm going to show you guys how to play this game efficiently. We're going to go to exit to character screen, and I'm just going to go select my character again, double click on it, and log right back in. This is going to put me in town, so I instantly go there. Also, I get to go complete my quest for Dweller in the Deep. It's going to give us a skill point book. So just like in Diablo, bam, extra skill point right there. And then we have an extra passive point, and we're going to get Aspect of the Eagle. This is going to be really nice. And then we can actually put some points into this to get some extra mana, and this gives us strength and int, which is going to be required eventually for certain pieces of gear. But I'm going to get earlier on, we want to get extra attack speed. Later, getting crit is also great, but I like to get as much attack speed as possible. We're going to grab this aspect of the links, and then we're going to get some more HP, we can get finesse, and get even more attack speed. So now I'm going to click on the waypoint, and we're going to go right back to the ledge. But first, I'm going to clear out my inventory, and it's probably a good time for you to do as well. So items also will sell for different amounts, and I don't need this burning arrow, but if I put an item in here that has a gem, it will also sell the gem. And remember how I was talking about the blue, green, and red link? If I sell this, it's going to guarantee me a chromatic orb. This can re-roll the colors on an item. So it's random, but certain items have a higher chance to roll certain colors, but that is part of the progression here. And, oh, we have another iron ring cup. Cool. So we can also check the vendors. Eventually, for the boss, we do want to grab a set of sapphire rings, and that will grant us extra resistances. And if there's any other skills that you want to try out, hey, if you're looking at this and you're like, wow, I really want to try out this skill, go for it. I always recommend you guys to mess around with the game, because it's not gonna, it's cost you scrolls of wisdom. These things are basically like, you know, pennies. It's not like really anything. So now we're gonna keep on continuing from the ledge. That one has a red link, but I like the green one, and later we're going to get some extra cold damage added to our build. And if you see any of these little like things, you can click on it for like lore and little like, you know, dialogue. Pick up all the scrolls of wisdoms, all the town portal scrolls that you see earlier on. Well, actually, we could have used it on our chest piece. That would have been okay as well. We have a larger life flask. You can throw this on. And when you do swap the life flask, it is going to reset it, so it'll have no charges. If I threw the essence on this, that would have been an option as well, but it's no biggie. And you see now we are just shredding content. That's why I love having the start. Also, as rogue, or ranger. Also, when you level up, you get full mana, full HP, so. And we're just going to keep on moving on the ledge. You see, right now, I'm not even really summoning my little shrapnel ballistas, but they do definitely help. I'm gonna pick up this item because it's red, green, and blue. So this is an elite, so I'm gonna go do this. Put that thing over there. This guy can actually hit you pretty hard, so don't stand in the blue little circles. It'll do massive amount of damage to you. So let's see if there's anything that we wanted. I guess we can get that mana flask over there. Swap out this small mana flask, throw a large one. Oh, I have two larges. Get rid of those. I mean, you're going to get a lot of upgrades in this game. Actually, we couldn't equip this one because it wasn't identified. Whoops. It's the wrong one. Okay. It's fine. No big deal. But that, if you right-click on a portal, it will open up the portal scroll. Or the town portal thing. Just like you would if you played Diablo. Same concept. Okay, we can throw... Ooh, I'm going to go pick up the portal scroll. And we just keep on going. Now we are at the climb. So yeah, we haven't even engaged in the new league mechanic, because some league mechanics, they don't even appear till later. So if you see these elites, it's pretty good to try to kill them. Because you might have some extra great drops on certain monsters. Oh, we got another waypoint. And if you see any waypoints, just click on them. Some waypoints aren't really that necessary. Because when you die in this game, it's not like Diablo 3 where you just respawn immediately. You may have to spawn kind of far away, or yeah. I'll pick up this iron ring. And just keep on moving. Man, I love bow so much at the very beginning. It's just so smooth. So this guy, you just want to shoot and move because he does this rain of arrows. Got some extra leather up here. And I think I can move all this to here if this happens to be really good. So what do we got? Extra evasion. I mean, this doesn't really do anything for us. It does add Sniper's Mark, which I can move over here. Sometimes this game is kind of like playing inventory Tetris. You got to move things. I'm going to put this over here. I can still keep this because I can use it for something else. I don't want these boots anymore, so I'm going to probably sell them. But now, what does this give us that's good? It's just more numbers, more extra evasion rating. That's a pretty good amount. And so how the defenses scale with Ranger for most builds, because you can do anything in Path of Exile. You can make a tanky ranger, you can make a spellcaster that's super tanky and get armor, but usually you get either energy shield or some other forms of defenses. Depends on like how you want to build your character. I'm going to actually go for more attack speed, and we're going to grab this, and then we'll get some extra HP. But how evasion works, I'm going to go open my stat sheet over here. So if we click on this tab, you can see how much damage it does, but I have to make sure I select the correct skill, because certain skills will have different links and gems. If I go to defenses, you can see my armor. So we have 16 armor, so that's 16% physical damage reduction. And then if we have evasion rating, that's going to make it so we just don't take any damage. It just evades the attack. So, yeah, I like playing ranger because a lot of the times, through most of the campaign, you could just basically take no damage in most of the engagements, and it's awesome. I mean, the damage is great, the clear speed is great, because sometimes, like, damage could be really good, but the problem is that your clear speed is still bad because you're single target, right? That's a problem that Melee has. And that's why I will never make any beginner guide for Melee. I did it once, and it's not like it's like the Melee is like impossible to play, it's just that early on it's kind of rough. For sure. Now we're going to get a trial of Ascendency in the prison. So we're going to go ahead and click on this waypoint. And we actually definitely want the waypoint here. So to ascend to your secondary class, which we're going to be going Deadeye, or we can go Raider. It doesn't really matter too much. Both are great, fantastic, like beginner-friendly options. And I'll explain all of that, but in order to get our special class, we need to do a set of trials. It's like a test of your skill. It's really awesome. It's one of my favorite things in Path of Exile that I feel like other games should add. There's actually a mod in some of the Diablo games that also tests out your skill to advance, and I think that this is one of the coolest things. So when we're in the lower prison, we are on the lookout for a certain little thing. This is a little book over here. And it's going to give us some cool dialogue, but I've already heard it, so I don't really need to hear it. But it's going to be kind of like a little puzzle. Each one of these has its own mechanic, but honestly with a lot of the movement speed, you can skip out the mechanic. So when you see these monographs, it's pretty cool. Like I actually like hearing what it has to say. If it's your first time, you can listen to it and pause this video, whatever. But now we have to do this trial. So this trial is going to have a bunch of these spikes come up. As soon as the spikes go down, just start walking. There's a little bit of a checkpoint, and I can click on this lever. I'm going to wait for the spikes to rotate once, and then we're going to go backwards now. So now that we've opened up this gate, it's part of the trial. Now if I get hit by these, you can see how much damage it does. It does a pretty good amount of damage. You're going to start bleeding, and it makes you take more damage when you walk, when you are hit with bleed. But after we open up that lever, it's going to open up this door, so now we can go this way. And then we're going to kill some monsters, and this activates in a checkered pattern. So now this area, we can move over here. I mean, honestly, you could just cheat by just going to the side over here, and you just use dash, and it avoids the whole like mechanic. Which I think they should probably like disable, because like it was a really cool thing. But Path of Exile has just gotten a lot faster. But once you're at the very end of it, you want to click on the Trial of Ascendency plaque, and then you go through the portal, and you're going to be put right back at the start of the trial. And I know this is like crazy stuff, but like Path of Exile is an amazing game, and if you put in the time, I promise you, you will be absolutely blown away with the content this game has to offer. No other action RPG really is on the same level as Path of Exile, at least right now. And so now from the lower prison, again, you want to complete the Trial of Ascendency, then you want to go to the upper prison. And now we're going to continue. But yeah, there's a lot of things in Path of Exile where you need someone to teach you the game, and you need the full walkthrough guide. Someone that watches a 20-minute, like, new Path of Exile guide, I promise you they won't make it to endgame. It is because this game has so many things that, like, you just need someone to explain to you, honestly. It's crazy how great it is. How fun is this game? I mean, I think it's the most fun action RPG in terms of its overall progression. The way your character progresses in power is just nothing that competes with it. And the reason why I say that is because other action RPGs may require you to get an item, but this game, like the gem scale, as you progress, you get more gem slots, and just the trade system in this game is one of the best, because it has a trade website that you can go to. So we can get this, adds 3 to 5 fire damage to attacks, and since it's a white item, I may want to use an essence on it if I can get another essence. So we're going to go ahead and put in the passive and throw that in. So I like to get as much movement speed, like I said, as possible, because most of the campaign is actually just running around and killing stuff. and you do a significant amount of running around. Oh, also in the top left, those are where your buffs are at and your debuffs. If you are hit by bleed, if you move, you will drain your HP, so you will actually take more damage. But you just pop a potion, it's fine. In the earlier stages. Later, like, dying, like, if we died, it really doesn't matter. In fact, it's actually smarter, and this is a strategy that a lot of people do, as long as you're not playing hardcore. But, like, if you're a beginner, please don't play hardcore, especially on Path of Exile. You will regret that decision immediately. But, earlier on, you can die. It's no big deal. I mean, with Ranger, sometimes you get unlucky. They land, like, 2 crits in a row. Or if you get, like, frozen, that's usually what's going to get you killed in Path of Exile, is, like, getting frozen. Leather belt can be okay, too. This gives us increased physical damage. It's by such a small amount, it probably doesn't matter. We could pick up that leather belt to get more HP, which is okay as well. Certain, like, items, they have, like, implicits, which will always guarantee you some sort of a stat. Okay, cool, we got an Orb of Alchemy. This could be used to trade later, and I'll show you guys how to trade, too. I'll teach you guys the whole game, because I enjoy making these videos. I just got so used to just making them, because I had a friend that really wanted to play Path of Exile, and they're like, where do I start? I'm like, oh, just look up a guide. They're like, which one? I'm like, oh, just go to YouTube. And, well, they were still stuck in the game. And I'm like, well, how'd you get stuck? They're like, I was confused on this. Like, it's not that, like, the guide that they're watching was really bad. It's just that, like, there's just not enough time in 20 minutes to explain the whole game. You need the full campaign guide. You need it, because otherwise you will get lost. All right, so now we're going to go from the upper prison into the Warden's chamber. So if you get a Orb of Alchemy, save it, don't use it. They're not like super rare. You'll get a bunch of them as you progress in the game. It's just earlier on, I could trade it for an item, and in part 2, I will show you guys how to trade items. And if you ever want to refill your flasks, you can go right back into town. So this next boss we're coming up to is a little bit challenging. So if you die to him, it's no problem. He is indeed a little bit of a challenge.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Just gonna keep on moving. Kind of pops out. And again, if you see any chests, you can click on them. Ideally, you can also blow up the barrels. You never know what you can get. So we're gonna keep on going. So we're gonna throw down our turrets. Throw that sniper's mark down and just keep on blasting them. Oh my gosh, we are melting this guy. The boss is gonna have no chance. It's all those turrets and the sniper's marks. And later, sniper's mark, we're gonna get it automated. So what did you drop? Let's see. Got some shoes. All right, so we're gonna identify the shoes. We want to try to get movement speed. Dang, we didn't get it. So that's what we want to get on boots. And now we're gonna go over to the next area, and we're gonna go to the Prisoner's Gate. The first act, by the way, is like one of the longest acts in the game, and it's also because like I'm stopping to explain stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to explain in this game. Ooh, another essence. All right, my favorite. Maybe do it on the boots. And if you see any of the yellow, like the monsters are in yellow or blue, you can activate Sniper's Mark if you want to. Jade Amulet will give you extra dexterity. You can see like what the implicit is on it. So if you see any of these, you want to do these every single time. So Hatred is going to be nice because it's going to be related to cold. Oh, we got a longbow over here. Ooh. Watch out over here. Okay, awesome. And I love these turrets because these turrets actually have HP, so they can actually be attacked, so it helps out. You see this longbow, it's 8 to 33 damage. So our current bow, you can see, it's 6 to 17, but we also get some damage. So if we were to add that, and we could add the damage now. Later, it's going to get more complex with math, but for the most part, we can do whatever damage in the very beginning. We're not scaling like elemental damage or only physical damage. So we can add basically 9 to whatever 17 plus 6 is, which is, what is it, 23. So it's like 9 to 23 damage. And then we would multiply it times the attacks per second. So this is faster attacks per second, so like the damage can be lower, but since it's firing faster, right? But I'm just going to go use this because the Essence of Hatred will add cold damage to my attacks. I'm going to throw that in. Bam, and it gives us +1 to bow socket gems. That's actually a meme for the most part. There are certain things that would be much better that give us skill. I'm going to throw in the Sniper's Mark, and I'm going to get a new bow right there. And I have a rare bow just like that. And let's go ahead, and we can get some more HP. And this also gives us life regen if we've used a flask in the past couple seconds. It's okay to get. I'm going to go ahead and scale a little bit of HP. Just because, I mean, I could probably play the game. Actually, yeah, we could maybe do a fun little challenge and try to play through the full game without getting life. You can actually do that if you get enough evasion rating for the campaign. Now, if you want to do end game content, well, you're gonna need to get life. But I'm gonna get life. I'm gonna get a decent amount of HP, so it's easier to follow as a beginner because, like, you're not gonna be able to dodge every single thing in the very beginning. We can grab this leather too. We're not gonna grab the shield though. Okay, so now let's go ahead and identify some of these items. See if this is any better. Gloves. Let's see. We got dexterity. We got added fire damage attacks. Great. I'm gonna put this over here. Sometimes again, it's just about inventory Tetris. What does this give us? Let's see. Let's give us some resistance. We want to get as much cold resistance as possible. 15 dex is okay. But, I mean, is it really... Let's swap to this. Oh, what's our current cold res? We want to get as much cold res as possible. Oh, well, we're not going to have very much. Actually, we can maybe sell this. Pick this up. And slam all these in. And just keep on zooming. So, at the Prisoner's Gate, over there's a quest that we'll eventually do that unlocks that area. But the next quest is going to be getting another skill point that's important. And the name of that quest is the Marooned Mariner. That's what we're doing next. Grab some ring. Ideally, we would try to get an essence on some sapphire rings. Sapphire rings will give us cold resistance. The final boss of the first act does a significant amount of cold damage. So it's going to significantly help out with that. Follow my Crucible guys well, came in early and handy. I really appreciate it. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Cake Pop. Ooh, another Orb of Alchemy. Nice. So I could throw the Orb of Alchemy on. I'm going to save it. And if you guys get an Orb of Alchemy, save it. I'll show you what to do with them in Act 2. The reason why is because I want to try to progress through Act 1 as quickly as possible. So the video isn't super long. The first act is always one of the longest. And it's just natural because, well, it's a lot of explaining to do in this game. So now we're going to go to the ship graveyard, okay? So you go from Prisoner's Gate into the ship graveyard.
Life and death live side by side. This is a strange land.
And if you get any items that may require, let's say, intelligence or strength, because you're going to have enough dexterity with this, you eventually can grab this. This is actually really nice to have in the very beginning, but yeah, we're just going to put a point in there. And then we can also go down here, and I want to get the finesse also, so that's one reason why I like going here. If you see any strong boxes, when you click on them, it can freeze you. That's like the only thing that will be dangerous, but click on them. Sometimes, like you see this one, like Tar came out, and it maybe slows us down. But sometimes if you open one of these, it can freeze you if you die. That's fine. The earlier stages, freeze is kind of OP. Like, you can get, eventually, we will be completely immune to freeze, but in the very beginning of the stages, you're not going to get freeze immunity. So in the very beginning of this area in the ship graveyard, you see Fairgraves. Usually the waypoint will be very close by to Fargraves, and we're going to use this later. We don't need to talk to him now. We just need to find this little, like, girl in the bottom of another cave in the ship graveyard. And the reason why is this is part of our progression here. It's going to give us Lightning Arrow, which is the skill that we actually want to use. And then we're going to also get a bunch of different skills very soon. We can get Steel Skin as well. We're going to complete this quest first, get Lightning Arrow, and this is going to significantly increase our speed. So if you see an exit, like this area over here, the Cavern of Wrath, we can get the waypoint here. It's not bad. But we want to go back to the ship graveyard. It's kind of luck of the draw. Some of these quests, honestly, like you'll hit a certain area first, and I'll mention it if I happen to come across it. But we want to still stay in the ship graveyard because we're looking for a little cave underneath. And the reason why is, well, it's going to be a part of our progression. We're going to do all of the important quests. Ooh, hopefully we can get some movement speed on this. Let's see if we can get a movement speed boost. 10%. Woo. Okay. So now problem is where do I move my thing to? Because as much as I want these movement speed, this is not a 3 linked, right? I would lose out on my Split Arrow, Mirage Arch, or Momentum. I don't think it's worth trading out for movement speed now, but if I get another green, then I can swap out of it. Usually, like, our main link setup, wow, we're getting a lot more Orbs of Alchemy. Usually you can finish this act and you'll get at least 1. But, like, now that we got 3, in Act 2, guys, we are going to be zooming, and I'll show you guys how to buy items on the trade website, and it's optional. You don't have to do this. I'm just gonna refer to that. I don't really need that right now. Any of the red, blue, green we want to keep. What do we got with this? Okay. I was looking for, honestly, the only thing that we're really looking for is massive amount of cold resistance. We could probably get through the boss perfectly fine because I can move out of it. I mean, there are a few strategies for Path of Exile in terms of the end game. There's a strategy where you actually move out of the way because you've played the game, you learned the mechanics of the said boss, and you can beat a lot of the bosses with literally 1 HP. It's because you just know how the boss mechanic works, which is the beauty of Path of Exile for endgame, in terms of like these pinnacle bosses. But there's another strategy where you just get so much damage that the boss doesn't get to attack you. Those are all great options. For the beginner's guide, though, I will teach you guys how to, you know, move out of the way. But I will also, 24 is a little bit lower. I will teach you guys how to play the game properly, though. I'm not gonna. Well, eventually, yes, we will get so much damage that the boss doesn't matter. But till then, I will teach you guys how to play the game properly. Okay, so what we're looking for in the ship graveyard is the ship graveyard cave. Now we're gonna go in here, and we have an extra passive point. We're gonna get more HP, and the next up, we're gonna get some more dexterity, some more attack speed. And it's pretty much if you see any blues or yellows. Oh, is that a... Okay, we got a scour. Yeah, I want to say that they definitely buff the drops a little bit. Maybe it's luck. That's how PoE goes. Is PoE 2 going to blow D4 out of the water? I mean, with... Okay, remember that PoE 2 doesn't come out till next year. By next year, Diablo could get an expansion. I don't sign it out of the question. The reason why is just part of their monetization system. But Diablo 4's main concern right now is the end game. Path of Exile endgame, currently in Path of Exile 1, well, yeah, okay, they definitely buffed up the drops. There's no way we're getting this many Orbs of Alchemy, which is great, by the way. I wonder if they're really just juicing it up right now, because a lot of people that play D4 are going to be playing Path of Exile this season because, well, most people have probably at this point that are hardcore D4 players probably finished the season. I mean, in Path of Exile, there's a new mechanic, and I'm not sure when this is going to be activated. Because some league mechanics don't get activated till like later, like you don't do them like level 1. Sometimes you do them. Oh, we got a leather belt. Let's go actually grab that. Oh, we got a triple linked bow, which might be an option. Let's grab this belt or 2 full-on items. We can also identify this in case. Okay, so we have 10 movement speed here. Strength and int is actually going to be better than the other one. I have just so much stuff over here. Let's just grab the belt, because I actually do want to probably equip this. Identify it. Let's see what we get. We get strength, max life. Oh, I wish it was cold res, but this amount of life that it's giving us is pretty dang nice, so I'm going to go ahead and swap it for that. Oh, there's a hybrid flask. These are great as well. So a hybrid flask, unfortunately we can't equip it, but I want to use it so I can show you guys. So the hybrid flasks, what they will give us is life and mana. So if you played Diablo 2, think of it as a rejuvenation potion. But anyways, skill point. We're going to get finesse, and that's going to be great. We can actually get some more movement speed as well. That's going to be awesome to have more movement speed. And the reason why I like to scale so much movement speed is because it's going to expedite your progress, and movement speed is surprisingly, in a sense, it is DPS, and it is survivability. And if you see any gems that drop, sometimes they can drop with quality, sometimes they can drop with level. But what we're looking for in the ship graveyard is this slave girl. There's also this thing that pops up. This thing, it slows you down. You can just move out of the way. Click on the slave girl. She's going to drop an item called the All Flame. And then now we're going to go back to Fargraves. So you can see where he's at on the map. This one's not too far. If you want to, though, you can exit to the login screen, come back in, and that will save you a portal scroll. Or you can just go to the waypoint, yeah. But Fargraves is over here. He's going to attack us, so we're going to set up a bunch of turrets. And then we're going to mark him with that sniper's mark. And eventually we will get mana on hit. And mana, basically it's like, if you play Diablo 2, it's kind of like Leech. Okay, so what did we get over here? I don't think there's really anything we could use there. And so now, yeah. Remember how we got that waypoint in the other. If you happen to get this first, then obviously you have to walk to the next area, but I'm going to go exit the character screen and do this. Again, I could use my portal scroll, but I'm teaching you guys how to play efficiently. Eventually, we won't have to do this because you'll have enough portal scrolls. So now I have a bunch of these items. He's going to give us also a reward. We can get precision. That's going to be nice. Give us extra accuracy. We can also get blink arrow for movement, but I mean, you can get both. We're going to get precision because I want to show you guys how auras work. We're going to actually get a lot of things here. And we're going to another thing, we get faster attacks, or we can get lesser multiple projectiles. We can get melee splash, mana forged arrows. Mana forged arrows is great. We're going to actually do a lot of things very soon with this. But we're going to select lesser multiple projectiles because we need it for our lightning arrow. And you can talk to us again. We get toxic rain and rain of arrows. I want lightning arrow. Lightning arrow is the... Oh, it's so good, man. And then we also have siege ballista, which can like shoot. We can mess around with siege ballista because it goes further, which I do like. But I want to get lightning arrow, 100%, 100%. Okay. And then we can also get a skill point, but I have no more room in my inventory. I gotta get rid of these. So I'm gonna keep the one that gives us extra movement speed, and then what was the other one? This one gives us. So it says 18 life, lightning resist. Do we have cold res? No, no cold res. So I'm gonna keep this one. And then any red, blue, green, that's gonna give us a chromatic orb.
Be well.
And we're gonna keep these for later. All right. So now we're gonna play inventory Tetris for a little bit.
What little help I can offer is yours.
Oh, that's supposed to be my alarm to wake up to play. But we're already on. I already woke up way earlier. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can get some sapphire rings. There's one over here. It costs 3 scrolls of wisdom. I don't have 3 scrolls of wisdom. Well, how do I buy scrolls of wisdom? If I type wisdom, oh, there's none. So basically, if you sell just whatever item, it'll give you a scroll fragment once you collect enough scroll fragments. And anything can give you pretty much most of the things in the game will give you scroll fragment. You can sell your armor scraps in the very beginning. It was totally fine because they're not going to be too used. Don't sell your silver coins if you get those though. But let's see, because we're about to fight the boss. Okay, so we're going to actually go over a lot of mechanics here. So we're going to type in the word aura, and we can get something called vitality. We can also get something called precision. How many? Okay, we have multiple transmutes. So I can get vitality. I can also get clarity. And I'm going to keep these relatively low level. So what this does is gives us some extra life regen, but it's going to reserve our mana. So that's going to cut our mana, which you'd think is kind of bad, but it actually will give you more survivability, so it is worth it. And then clarity will also give us some mana regen. So it's going to see where it says reservation under the level. So it says clarity, aura, AoE. Auras will reduce your mana, but it'll give you some sort of a buff. And I'm going to show you how all of this works. So now I need to find something that has like all... Oh, perfect. There we go. Red, blue, and these don't have to be linked at all. Okay, don't worry about that at all. But I want to use lightning arrow. This is going to be our damage now. So I'm going to remove split arrow. I'm going to put in lightning arrow. I'm also going to momentum gives us extra movement speed, which is quite nice. Mirage archer is just way too good to swap out. So I'm going to use lightning arrow, lesser multiple projectiles, and mirage archer. And that's what I want to have my setup for right now. And we're coming up pretty much to the end of the act boss. And if there's anything else that you see that you want to try out, like you're looking at some of the skills and it seems like it could be fun, you try it out. Steel skin is also great to have. It's going to cost us a scroll of wisdom, and I want to get the sapphire rings because it would be smart to get for the boss. And I want it to be a blue one so I can maybe get a essence. If I get an essence, we'll use it. If not, well, I'm just going to use it for the cold res. Ideally, you try to get 2 of these, but it's really not that big of a deal if you don't have it. But try to get at least 1 for the boss, because it'll help out a lot. So, oh, we actually have a skill point, and we didn't grab it because I was full in my inventory, which is the whole reason why we did the Marooned Mariner class. So we're going to go talk to Tarkly.
Still alive, are we?
Let's see. Oh, if you have any quest rewards, it'll say, like, something reward, and you can click on it. You don't have to claim it immediately, but we want to get our skill points in immediately. And now we can get extra elemental damage with attacks, and this one is kind of nice to have because it also gives us 8 elemental resistance. So I'm going to grab this one, and now since I just got lightning arrow, what I want to do is scale elemental damage. It's going to convert 50% just off of its base. 50% of our physical damage is now converted to lightning damage, and it's also going to add base lightning damage, and it's going to be really good. You're going to see how fast it is. So I'm not going to have to use lightning arrow. Alright, so auras, this is very important to explain. So I don't put my auras on our first level of skills. I believe by default it is control. But let me actually go to this because this is important, because I don't know what the default control is, and mine might be different for the input. So whatever I have set for control, I need to go over, and if you go to input, it'll tell you what control is. Control G. Okay, so that's good. Toggle skill set. Okay, so if you see where it says toggle skill set under the input, I have mine set to control. So what that does is if I hit control, it's going to give me a whole new bar. And so if you need to select it, you hold control and then you can select your auras. So what we're going to do now, I didn't grab steel skin because I didn't have enough. But if you do have steel skin, you can also grab that we're definitely going to get it soon. If we can get another Scroll of Wisdom. Actually, yeah, we don't have a bunch of trash so we can get Scroll of Wisdom yet. But, let's see, actually we have Split Arrow. I could probably... Oh, it's unidentified. I wanted to try to get you guys... Oh, we can get another one, and I'll show you how Steel Skin works. But the auras is the most important thing. So if I activate Vitality, you'll see that it reduces my mana. You can see that the gray is basically reserving our mana, which means that we can't use that mana. And now we only have 41 mana, but we have all these buffs up. So what I like to do is I like to just keep them all at level 1. Even though we lose mana, we are able to get some regen, which can help out. If you don't want to throw in Vitality, you don't have to, but like Clarity is definitely going to be great. Clarity gives us more mana regen, which in theory, it's going to make it so even though we lose all on this mana, I'm going to remove Vitality for now until we get some more level ups. And this is the instance where you don't want to level up, like I don't really care to level up Clarity. I just want to keep it at level 1, and keeping Vitality at level 1 is okay as well. It's just to have a nice little buffer. We don't really need Precision, actually, either, right now. But I'm just trying to show you guys how these things work earlier on. How do I feel about Baldur's Gate 3? Oh, it's a phenomenal game. One of the best games of this year. 100%, no doubt. I really like, wow, we are just blasting through content. So our Cavern of Anger, next area here. Coming up to the final boss of the act. Like I said, Act 1 is significantly longer than any of the other acts. And also, if you watch this on YouTube, I will also put timestamps for any of the quests that are important, the other like small little notes that I have for this game. So we're just going to keep on blasting. Later, we will show off how to buy and sell. And since we have all these little orbs, these 4 orbs of alchemy, we can get a lot of uniques, or the Diablo, think of it like legendaries. And you don't have to trade. I mean, I promise you, bow is like so good in the earlier stages of the game. It's like one of the most beginner-friendly ones, for sure. And if you see any like white items, I could pick them up. Oh, are we at the boss right now? Oh, wow, dang. Okay, so we're at Merville's Lair. So this is at the final stages. Let's see if I can grab any white items, just so I can sell for. See if we get extra cold res on that. So I'm going to open up a portal here. And we are going to vendor off some stuff. We also have another passive skill point. Now we get the extra 8 resistance, so that's going to be nice. Extra cold res. So another thing that we can get is Steel Skin, and I want to show you guys how that works. So any 5 white items or any skill gems, you can just transfer it for a Scroll of Wisdom. If you prefer Split Arrow, though, you can still use Split Arrow. So now that I got 1 extra Scroll of Wisdom, what I'm going to show you guys is Steel Skin. This is actually going to be pretty important later in the game. So Steel Skin is phenomenal because we don't really have armor. It's just going to give us some extra buffer on some damage reduction. So I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to make my left click. If you use whatever to move for like your default move, you could just set it to Steel Skin. And what it's going to do is it's a buff. It only lasts 1.5 seconds, but it removes bleed from you. And if you're just left clicking to move, it's just like free bleed, like almost bleed immunity for the most part. But it has like a cooldown on it. So basically, about half the time, but the cooldown doesn't start until it expires, so it's actually like 1/3 of the time uptime for like just bleed immunity, and 70% of the damage that you take is taken from this buff. So it's 100 damage that it can take. We only have 400 HP, so it's pretty massive to have in the earlier stages. Now, let's see if I can sell some other like random stuff. Okay, I wanted to try to get another Scroll of Wisdom, but we don't have, you see, we cannot buy one. But the most important part is we got Steel Skin, that's good. If we had any armor scraps, we can sell those as well. There's actually, you could sell the alterations as well. Like, I mean, it's going to be probably better to have the Scrolls of Wisdom right now, because if we get any cold res, that could be great. See if we get, oh, we got cold resistance. Oh, but wait, hold on, there's a problem, because we got the 3 in here, so that's the reason why we haven't even swapped to this one. But let's see what else we can get. So I could potentially get another Sapphire Ring, and I could just basically have enough cold res to basically tank everything, and we could do this. If you don't happen to have one of these, you can also sell like a blue gem and like a certain potion, but this is going to be just easier for most people. So we have 2 of these. If I had any extra of the essences, I could use them on here, but to make this as easy as possible for this boss, just as much cold resistance as possible. And we currently have 66 cold res. So this boss will be an absolute cakewalk for us. But if you don't happen to have these rings, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal if you die. I'm pretty sure the game has gotten easier now. Like, I'm pretty sure it respawns you on the exit of it. But if you want to, you could throw up a portal. And now we are going to fight the boss. Now, if you want to, for the boss, you can remove the lesser multiple projectiles, because it does give you less damage, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. But you can see if I move with Steel Skin, our character becomes like in silver, and it's going to make our character just have like some sort of damage that it can absorb, which is excellent. So make sure we activate that Sniper's Mark on the enemy, and this boss is... Wow, that was ridiculously easy. And we're taking like no damage, because again, I've been playing Path of Exile for a while, so like, I'll teach you how to make all the fights super easy peasy. Verville actually has 2 forms. You do not want to stand in these little like tornado water spouts. It does a lot of damage, but with all this resistance, it probably will do very little. So throw that Sniper's Mark, activate all your turrets on the character. We can actually throw up our other ballista, because Shrapnel Ballista is kind of a short range one. And she's gone. She's actually one of the more difficult bosses in the game, because earlier on your character's just weak. But from here on out, on the next part of our play session, it's going to be insane. The whole game is going to be like super easy, because, well, we have a couple of these Orbs of Alchemy, and I'll teach you guys what items to buy. Once we get this item called Roth's Reach and like Brisk Grab, okay, so the game will be way easier. But after we go over here, grab the waypoint, we're going to go from the Southern Forest, and now we're going to be entering the next act. So I try to make my playthroughs one act, one playthrough, one part. And sometimes if too many things get shot out, sometimes the music will disappear in this game. It's a bug that's existed for a long time. Is Diablo 4 Twisting Blades still meta? Oh yeah. The Twisting Blades is still the best rogue build, 100%. Just like in Path of Exile, the meta last season was bow. This season, I mean, I love bow for starting out. And every content creator has their kind of go-to to start off with. I like starting off with bow. But I kind of miss the music. There's a bug where the music kind of goes away sometimes. It's when sometimes too many things get activated at once, or the server just becomes sad. Oh, thank you, Decal. I appreciate it. Okay, so now we're just going to exit this area. We're going to get to the forest encampment, and the music will hopefully start again. Do I like Diablo PoE? I love both the games, man. I get that asked all the time. Like, anytime I play PoE, people are like, oh, dude, are you finished with Diablo? If I play Diablo, did you quit PoE? I play both of the games. I just cycle in between them. I love both of them. I genuinely do, okay? And I had one opportunity to, like, test the game for them for PoE, and I work as a Diablo partner. I've done ads for Blizzard for Diablo content. But anyways, I like both the games. I don't really have any sort of bias, but I do play both of them too. And I played both of them before I even like had the opportunity to work with Blizzard, or like when a Path of Exile reached out for testing. Anyways, more importantly, we've reached Act 2. So, and also this is the stash if you want to store your stuff. Oh, I have a bunch of storage. Okay, so I already mentioned this game is not pay to win and all, but you can buy additional storage, and there will be at some point where you want to trade. If you want to trade in this game to buy your items, you don't need to interact with any of the what's called a premium stash tab, which allows your items to be viewed by other players. We'll talk more about this later. We're never going to really sell items because we don't have any good items to sell until way later on. We'll talk more about selling items. The more important thing is buying items right now. And again, you can buy additional storage, but it doesn't, in my personal opinion, it helps out, but it's not necessary at all. By the way, you can play this game completely free. You can beat the game, do every single thing. It doesn't give you an advantage in terms of like your character's power to buy extra storage. But my character will have, I don't know how much you get by default, but I've purchased additional storage. If you want to store an item for later, like for example, I need this pair of boots because it has our like damage tied to it. But later we could actually swap this out. What I really want to focus in on now is basically we're going to be buying items for the next part. But this is going to wrap up part 1, Act 1. Next one we will do Act 2, and I'll show you guys how to buy, sell, and trade items, and this is going to wrap it up. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed part 1, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you want to see part 2, make sure you guys sub with the bell notification on, and I'll show you guys part 2. But thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one.